No.
Oh.
No, you gave me Columbus and Arizona and Anaheim. Like, what do you
I
want me
could
to
have gotten those.
Oh yeah, but I
Bro.
could have gotten it. Like, I don't know I don't follow those teams at all.
Arizona, you literally just go, okay, who's the best player? Keller.
Yeah, okay, fine. I got to Arizona eventually, but you gave me like I'm never gonna get to Columbus. My mind just went to Goudreau. Fine, but like
The ones with captain were the ones that are like, okay, should be easy.
no, like
Boone Jenner was captain before Goudreau even got there.
Yeah, I know, but like my mind doesn't go to Columbus when who's like who. Like I don't think about Columbus.
If it was easy, it wouldn't have been a game. He got hard ones.
No, why
This guy just got Adam Lowry.
You gave me all the tough ones in the beginning, and Evan
Bro, I give you
gave
Anaheim.
me Columbus, you gave me Arizona, and you gave me Anaheim at the beginning.
Bro, you're going back and forth. It's an alphabetical list. What are you gonna do?
And then right after that, it's like, oh, Dallas, Boston.
Okay.
Why am I getting? I'm going alphabetical order. You want me to just say it by what I think is gonna be easiest?
Yes, you start easier and you go hard later.
Omar, I don't know how your brain works. To me, Arizona is easy as hell.
Omar wanted some foreplay.
Actually, okay, Omar.
Colorado.
Oh, I forgot two teams.
What?
Okay, well, yes, McKinnon, and then what's the other team then?
No, it's Landeskog.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, Land.
Welcome back to the Unfortunate Diehards podcast. Hashtag number 60. Your potential one of 18 starting goalies for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs. Whoa.
Joseph Woll.
They all suck.
I'm rude.
My name is Evan. I am an Ottawa Senators fan. Woohoo, love that for me.
I don't love that for you. I'm Omar. I'm a Leafs fan. I wish I could say I love that for me, but you know,
I am Sufjan. I am Sufjan, and I am white. Caps fan. I am happy.
Yeah, you just came off a big win versus the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh,
yeah, what
God
the heck was that game? Yeah,
bro.
Can we just jump into that?
Yeah,
I was keeping up to date on this game because I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a 4-1 Carolina win.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be more than that, bro. And I tweeted out too. I was like, we can't keep getting into high scoring games with good teams because that's just not gonna end well for us. Except yesterday, what a basically. Essentially, Darcy Kemper has played 2 games in the last since the All-Star break, and you could tell yesterday he was letting in it went off his glove and from a distance on a power play of ours. So we kept tying it. They kept scoring. We kept tying it. They kept scoring, and then it was 4-3 going into the third, and we changed to Charlie Lindgren, and that kind of turned the things around for us. And then we took the 5-4 lead. It became 5-5. We took the 6-5 lead. Became 6-6. We go into overtime, and we controlled most of the play. I think they had one good chance. We had 3 or 4. And then the shootout happened, and no one scores in the shootout until the 6th round, and it's Strome that wins it. So after all that scoring, no one can score on either of these goalies one-on-one. But yeah, that was a huge game because that kept us in the race. And it's we had this week we had very tough opponents, and I was like, there's no way we come out of this still 1-0 or tied for a playoff spot, and we have been. Because we won on Monday. I don't remember who that game was against, Calgary. And then we played Toronto. We lost that one, and I was like, okay, this Carolina game is huge. 7-6 win. We go into Winnipeg, or we go into playing Winnipeg tomorrow, and that's the end of this kind of gauntlet of just hard teams. So if we come out of that with a point tomorrow, I'll be extremely happy. I don't know what's happening with my team, bro. We still have a -30 differential, and we're just living. There's a quote. The Caps are too stupid to die.
Well, at this point, they might as well go for it because they're too stupid to start losing now. Yeah.
But the thing, we have nothing to lose, man. We sold at the deadline, and we weren't anticipating to make the playoffs. We have some experienced guys that want to make the playoffs, but I think everyone had realistic expectations.
Yeah, but now the expectation is for the team anyway, is that you want to make the playoffs because You don't want to like you're not doing yourself any favors by not making the playoffs.
But that's the thing, right? Yesterday we won that game yesterday without Wilson or Oshie as well. And then in the game before that, we didn't have Oshie either.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're winning these games with key pieces out, we're gonna be out with Wilson. Wilson's gonna be out for a while as well.
Yeah,
Obviously,
let's transition to that. So Wilson is out. Care to explain why?
I thought, okay, I was talking to Nick about this, and we both agreed, which was nice. It was definitely a fine or a suspension, and in this case, it was definitely had to be a suspension because of Wilson's history. But the play itself, for me, was like if a player did this without history, I'd be like, okay, max fine or 1 game. When you add Wilson's history, that kind of play, I was like, okay, if he gets 2 or 3 games, I'd be like, it's fine. He ends up with 6. For me, even with a guy with history, a 6-game suspension is wild for that. Especially when you look at what Trouba did at the start of the year when he like 2-hand slashed a guy in the head and he got a $5,000 fine. Like, give me some consistency. If Wilson got 2 or 3 games, I'd be like, okay, you know what? Fair. It was a bad play. He shouldn't have done that. It was reckless. But 6 games in the middle of a playoff race, ridiculous.
Well, I think NHL player safety has proven that their consistency is not their forte. I don't think even when you look at the Riley situation, it wasn't like why is he getting 5 games for that?
But no history.
I absolutely think he should have gotten more. Ridley Gregg is probably forever going to be injured from that.
No, but it's just like if you look through a season's play and you see what's happened before in the season, why aren't similar things being followed? Is like the Jacob Trouba one is a perfect example. Like, why does he get a $5,000 fine, whereas other people get 5-6 game suspension?
And Wilson's was like that was a bad play, but it was one-handed on the stick, and like he happened to hit his head.
Yeah,
Trouba's was literally 2 hands at the head.
I would argue only like I do agree 6 was a lot, and I did see the play, and I know he didn't mean to do that.
It's still reckless,
but he did, and
yeah.
It looked like the motion like literally just like goes straight to his head, so it looks like that's like what he's doing. But it does like, and how he reacted to it too seemed like it wasn't the goal. It just looked like from the action that was the goal. So I understand being like frustrated with the longer suspension, but then like if we're going player safety, it's like this is the guy that does dumb stuff. So,
but it's just I don't know what the multiplier is on this kind of stuff, man. Like 6 games for a high stick is unprecedented. Like if any other player gets that, it's a fine or a 1-game suspension. We saw what Pietrangelo did to Draisaitl last year, and he got a 2-gamer for that in the playoffs. So in regular season, that might have been 3 or 4. It's just the consistency, I think, is what we're trying to figure out. And also, I told you guys to watch that Kochetkov play where he kicked John Carlson. That wasn't even like a penalty.
I guess a kick is not a headshot. So,
but you know, that he could have got so badly injured on that play, man.
Yeah.
John Carlson, man, he got shot in the puck with a head last year and barely made it back.
Oh, bro, that Wilson play looks so. Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything on Kochetkov if he's getting even like a hearing or anything for that, which would be nuts for me. Like that's a play that's at least a fine.
I mean, why is Wilson's stick coming up like this from his left hand?
The Wilson play didn't make any sense to me in the first place because I was like,
does that looks deliberate to me?
I've never seen. This sounds bad. I've never seen Wilson be remorseful, especially and like I've seen him take a guy's head off in like 2017.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was like he felt bad about it says something to me because he's not someone that usually does ever.
As it looks like he's going for a swing at him with that stick. Like I'm not saying he's going for a headshot with the swing, but I am saying he's deliberately going for a swing at him with that hand.
The thing is, my point is, intent or not, with his history, that should be 2 or 3 games. It shouldn't be 6. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying on that? Because for him, regardless of what it is, unless it's a really soft, unless it's a really soft play, he's not ever going to get another fine. He's just going to get a straight suspension.
I guess suspension. Yeah.
Right?
And speaking of soft, Omar, how's your team doing?
Speaking of soft, excuse me.
Yeah, they're pretty soft, bro.
I mean, the last game they played was against the Caps, which was a good game. But
You let up 3 goals to us, bro. That's not a good game.
they've kind of just had, I think, the Caps number this year and last year, I think. I don't know. When was the last time Caps beat them? I don't remember. Anyway, but I feel like the Leafs have kind of had the Caps number in the last couple seasons. So we generally win against them. So I was going into that game, I was like, yeah, I think Leafs are gonna win this, especially after a loss they had.
Oh, wait.
They had a Philly loss.
Just remembered I'm pissed off at Toronto for this.
At what?
If you're gonna beat us, beat the Flyers too, bro.
Yeah. So
What the hell was that?
we lost to Philly the day before, and I was like, okay, I think we've got the game against the Caps if we lost to Philly tonight. Like I didn't think they were going to go 0-2 on that Philly and Washington trip. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised when they were winning against the Caps. But we're playing Edmonton tonight, which is that's an interesting one. Now that's I think it's in Toronto. We had the one in Edmonton earlier in the season. So, as Sufi pointed out last podcast, the Leafs seem to beat teams below them, but can't seem to beat teams in their level or above them. So let's see what they do against Edmonton tonight.
Yeah, and is it in Toronto or Edmonton?
It's in Toronto. We played in Edmonton
It
earlier.
might be worse. McDavid in Toronto
McDavid in Toronto is like
is a nightmare.
yeah. I mean, McDavid anywhere is a nightmare, but in Toronto,
he scored a couple of nuts goals against Toronto in Toronto.
I mean, at this point, the thing is, win or loss, it doesn't really matter for Toronto because their third place is pretty secure. Unless
everyone in those positions are secure.
Yeah. So the three except for like all we're looking at is if it's Boston or Florida. At this point, they keep switching. Florida is behind by like 3 points to Boston right now, but they have like a game or two in hand. So that's still going to go back and forth, I think, till the end of the season. But with the Leafs, I think Tampa's too far behind to make any kind of threat.
Yeah.
So
I'll go over the standings when we go over the rest of the league as well.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, so I mean, at this point, all I want to see is like Marner's been out. I want to see what line combinations work, what mesh, so I can see what kind of looks for the playoffs. Like Domi with Matthews against the Caps. I mean, it looked fun and it looked like they worked together. But can they work long term together if need be? You know, can that be an option they go to in the playoffs if they need a spark or if they need something to work with? I feel like
I have a question.
Yeah.
What happened with Bertuzzi? I was watching the Leafs cast game, right? He was benched for the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yes. Yeah, he was.
But like, why though? That's such a random to be benched.
Honestly, Chiefs been doing that kind of stuff this season more. He did it with with Nylander, it's always been kind of a thing, but he's done it with Nylander. Yeah. He did it with Bertuzzi. He did do it with Domi earlier in the season. I also think
that to start though. That's weird.
Yeah, but he got benched like at the start of the game. I don't know. I didn't see the Philly game, so I assume he wasn't happy with Bertuzzi in the Philly game, and he was sending a message at the beginning of the Caps game. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, because they scratched Brody that game,
and Brody was a healthy scratch.
Yeah,
so I don't know if that was that just maintenance or was that actually I don't like the way you're playing sit off.
Oh, that was a healthy scratch. That was actually a healthy scratch.
That's what I mean. It was a healthy scratch. So I'm just wondering, is it like take some rest or because it's a back to back?
No, he said it as like we have our best guys playing right now, so we're gonna.
Yeah.
So it wasn't one of the he's taking a maintenance day.
But the one thing that I'm with this season with the Leafs that's been interesting to me is that because their depth is two things. Well, for the first half of the season, where like their depth is worse than it's ever been, especially in the Matthews era. In the second half of the season, we're like, okay, Bertuzzi's picked it up, so he's playing better and he's contributing on the score sheet. Like it's more looking like the Tyler Bertuzzi we thought we would get now in the second half of the season. Max Domi's play has picked up a little and he's been shuffling here and there and his playmaking and stuff is coming out and he's he's atrocious defensively. It's a pain to watch, but when it's on a rush or if it's in the offensive zone, it does look like he's getting better and he's able to gel with whether it's Nylander, whether it's Tavares, whether it's Matthews like last game. So the combinations we're seeing are different this season, which is interesting to me coming into the playoffs. Like what combinations can we possibly go in with? Because the last few years it's been okay, Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander, and then whatever's in the third line and whatever's in the fourth line. But this year it's like Tavares moves down one, Nylander's with Domi and Bertuzzi. They're kind of shuffling all around. Power play is looking a bit different with Tavares moving to the second power play. They're moving players up and down, and people are getting different looks, which is more interesting. It's been very consistent with especially the core four guys, where they play and who they play with in the last few seasons. Apart from Matthews and Marner, well, we know they're going to stay together, but the third option on that wing, plus what happens with Nylander, Tavares and stuff, it's interesting to see if Tavares can stick on the third line, making us deeper in that regard with him there. What happens? I don't know. So
I think it might just be whoever's hot just moves up the lineup at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the experimentation I like because we haven't been doing that much.
You kind of got to get settled into the playoffs, so that's the only thing.
Yes.
Like something's got to stick for at least 5-6 games going into the playoffs.
Yeah. So I think they've been forced to do some things, whether it be with injuries or players just not playing that well and moving around. So some things worked a little bit in sparking a couple of guys. Let's see what happens. And Evan, your Ottawa.
Evan, I want to start this conversation with you here. Okay. I sent you a Facebook message. I sent you a Facebook message right before, and we both had our sad moments with it. You more so than me, because I frankly don't care that much. But the bottom 6 goalies in goals saved above average, Omer. Number 1 is Korpisalo. Number 2 is Soderblom. Number 3 is Vladar. Number 4 is Vanacek. Number 5 and number 6 are Mads Sogard, who's a Sens, and then Anton Forsberg. And then I also saw another stat, and it was like, I think most games with the below 850 save percentage from their goalies or 800 save percentage, and Ottawa was first by like a mile. I think Washington was on the list too, and it was just because of Kemper.
They have 3 goalies in the bottom 6.
And bro, Mads Sogard has played 6 games and he's -10 goals saved above average. So the problem is there's no easy fix to goaltending, right?
So essentially what this is saying is Korpisalo is the worst goalie in the league right now.
Yeah. But I think based on performance and like volume of games, like he's going to get that title regardless.
Yeah.
Because of how much money he's getting paid and like his contract and everything. But the thing I'm trying to say is like, if Ottawa had an adequate goalie, then I don't know if like I think that they would be much closer to a playoff spot. I don't know if they'd be in the playoffs.
They could be
even if they had league average goaltending.
Yeah,
they'd be in a playoff spot or close to a playoff spot, not in a playoff spot.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Is it just goalies to blame, or do you think that a lot of this falls on defense?
I don't know. I agree that goaltending has not been great. Like, yes, there's weak goals that go in most games. But again, like I've said for a very long time, for example, Brandstrom, Chychrun, Chabot, Jacob Bernard-Docker, Hamonic, like all of these guys are not extraordinarily defensively. And I would say even Chychrun has looked not very good. Like he's caught flat foot, he makes bad pinches a lot. He's like top 5 or something in giveaways in the NHL. Brandstrom, Brandstrom, for his size, tries to play big, which I appreciate from him. He just isn't.
Yeah.
Jacob Bernard-Docker is like really he's a 6th, maybe 7th defenseman. Hamonic's old, like he's not as good as he once was. Chabot, I do think, has looked significantly better than the past couple of years, like genuinely, wholeheartedly. But none of these guys, like Zub and Sanderson, great. Sanderson started really hot. He's kind of trailed off a little bit, but like really, so I'm transitioning into this. So I was at the Blues game, 3 rows from the glass. Thank you. And got to see a lot of the goals go in. The Sod goal, literally like just shot literally on a stick. It was just super unlucky. Another one, like St. Louis is just rotating around and going, and it's like Ottawa just can't like stop the pressure, and Kairou's like buzzing around, and then someone comes in from the point and no one picks them up. So yes, we were blessed with Craig Anderson for like a decade of him essentially just eating 30 plus shots a game for a decade essentially. And he did really well with that kind of, like, if he was somewhere else with actual structure all the time, it would have been insane.
Mhm.
But with goalies who maybe have had more structure, who have had less experience with that, or a more experienced defense core, or just more experience with the team in general, bringing these guys in and then not having fabulous defensive structure, and maybe not the most talented defensemen anyways, who aren't big. Like, none of Ottawa's defensemen are very big. We have no one over probably like 6'2". Not saying that's small, but like even the 6'2" guys are like Shabbat and Chikrin, and Chikrin's muscular, but he's not heavy. Shabbat's like, again, like a lighter guy. So you don't have anyone who's like going to make it necessarily easier on your goalie. So I think it's a great combination of them all, and it creates a perfect storm for a fourth goalie to enter the top 6 probably soon.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think systematic issues are a huge thing with Ottawa. Even with Jacques Martin, it hasn't gotten better per se. I think he's a defensive minded coach, but there's not enough defensive minded players on your team, so it really doesn't make sense. What?
He's also too old to coach now.
Yeah, he hasn't coached in a long time. Okay, I mean, regardless, he might be a little out of touch. I don't know anything about that, to be honest. But just systematic issues in general. Because if you look at a team like Toronto's D-core on paper sucks. It's worse than Ottawa's, in my opinion, or it's close. But the reason that they're not letting in a million goals a game, even though their goalies are not good, is because the system of Keefe's is just, for some reason, really good defensively. And it has been for years. This year, it's a little bit weaker defensively, but it's still like above league average. So I think if Ottawa if somehow finds a coach and like a goalie that's, average goaltender, we could be looking at a completely different team next year.
Yeah, and I think, like I've said before, if we got someone like if we got rid of, I think, Hamonic and Jacob Bernard-Docker or something, and in the offseason we bring up Tyler Clevin, who's a big defenseman we drafted in the second round a few years ago, and like Scott Mayfield or something. Like guys who don't have to play a lot of minutes, but guys who will help defensively, clear the net, whatever. I think that'd be great. And I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but like I don't necessarily think we should trade one goalie or the other over another. But like if we were to trade, let's say, Forsberg, and he goes to Boston as a cheaper backup, and we get Allmark, but we have to give up more, obviously. That would be something that would obviously it's a rival in the division. It's but they do need to free up cap space, and they do have a cheaper option who's been better this year. So I think if Ottawa is going to go for goalie, they should really push hard on that, and someone who's shown that they can be successful. Yes, Boston has a much better system, so his stats are definitely not going to be as good as they were in Boston's. But
he has played for Buffalo before, and he was good. So
yeah, so I don't know what the fix is. Everyone always asks, who's going to get traded? What do they need to do? I've been getting asked this question my entire life. So
I mean, that's the thing. We thought that there was going to be more fixes this year from what we saw in the offseason, and it just hasn't resulted in anything. So realistically, it's more of just a wait and see with Ottawa at this point. Are we ready to move on to the rest of the league here?
Yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna go through the standings here. So Boston, Florida, Toronto, obviously firmly in the top of the Atlantic. There's not much to say about those teams. Like, none of them are really hot, none of them are really cold. It's kind of just, they're just there at this point. Rangers and Hurricanes are currently very much fighting for the top spot in the Metro. And that's going to be a very interesting race going forward, because Carolina's on a heater, 8-1-1. Their only loss was to us in the last like little while. And with the additions of Gensel and Kuznetsov, they've looked like a much faster team than they were before. Especially Gensel. Gensel has been on fire in Carolina. He's getting rid of those Crosby byproduct of Crosby tags right now, and he's looking great. The third spot in the Metro is very much up for grabs. Flyers at 81 points with 71 games played. The Caps at 77 points with 69 games played. And the Islanders are at 75 points with 70 games played. And I think they actually, so the Islanders just won today after losing 6 straight. So the Caps can catch up, hopefully. But that one's very much up for grabs. And the Flyers have not been playing as well as they were earlier in the season.
Yeah.
And then the wild card really comes down to Tampa, Detroit, Washington. Islanders are kind of there. They're going to have to really get hot. The Devils, Sabres, Penguins, I think are out of it at this point. Like Devils are 6 points out. Buffalo's 7 points out or 6 points out. Pittsburgh's 9 points out. Like I think they'd have to go at least like 700 win percentage the rest of the way, and they still might not even make it.
Yeah. No, the most interesting race is between Tampa, Detroit, and Washington right now.
Yeah, I think that's the closest. I mean, Islanders could get hot as well. They just played more games than any of those other teams.
Yeah, but the Islanders, because of the games played. But I think like Washington's sticking in there because they're winning the games.
They're winning the tough games right now.
They're winning the games they got to be winning to stay in the race, and they have a game or two in hand as well, as if I'm not mistaken.
I do think the Caps can catch Philly though, because their Flyers schedule is pretty tough.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Detroit get kicked out and we see a Tampa Washington wild card. Yeah,
I can see that as well. But yeah, Detroit's been faltering quite a bit lately. They have won 2 in a row, but I think they're 3-7 in the last 10.
Yeah, and it just depends how Philly does and who they play. The thing with Philly is, they're quite. I would say they're more like they're cold right now a little bit.
Yeah, both Philly and Detroit are pretty cold right now.
Yeah, so those two. But yeah, the race is interesting within those 4 teams.
Ooh. Tampa's on fire. Win streak of 5 and 7-2-1 in the last 10.
Yeah, since they lost that game against Calgary, they've been on it.
They're only 5 points back at Toronto, bro.
They're not that far back actually. I just don't think. I just think they've played about 2 or so. Toronto
would need to go like 500 and Tampa would need to go like 700.
Yeah, that's why I don't think they're going to catch us, but
it could happen realistically.
It could happen. I would actually be like, honestly, I'd be quite happy if it happened.
You'd be happy?
I would love to end in the first wild card and take New York or something. I'll like happily over Boston or Florida happily.
But that's not even like a given, right? Because Boston's at 97 points, Rangers are at 96, Carolina's at 95, Florida's at 94. So like that race itself is going to be going right up until the end.
Oh no, it is. But like I would much rather like if I had to choose between Boston, Florida, or Carolina and New York, I'll choose between Carolina and New York. I'll take one of Carolina or New York.
I think that's just PTSD talking.
It is really much so. Yeah. More so with the Bruins. Like I'm not that worried about the Panthers, even though they beat us in 5 last year. I'm still not worried about them in the same way. If we play Boston, I just don't think we're gonna win. I really don't.
Boston is the most vulnerable to me, though. I don't know. They like this regular season
series. They swept us though in season series.
I know. Who do they have last year though? It's just so weird to me that they're even doing this good. Anyways, in the bottom of the Eastern Conference, I mean, I'm not going to mention the teams I don't need to mention, but it looks like the Blue Jackets are going to be last, and there's no like catching them for that because Ottawa has 2 games. Ottawa has 2 games in hand on them, and and the Jackets are 2 points worse. The West Central is pretty much locked at this point. No, it is locked. Colorado, Dallas, and Winnipeg, they're all fighting for the first spot. So the standings of that could change, and that's insane to me because those 3 teams are juggernauts. And they're all Colorado's on an 8-game win streak, 9-1. Dallas is 8-2. Winnipeg's 5-5 in their last 10. Vancouver has started to pick it up again, 2-2 in their last 10. So I don't think Edmonton's going to catch, but they are 8 points back with 3 games in hand. So like could happen. Nashville is a team that we need to talk about. I don't think we've talked about Nashville once. They're 8-2 in their last 10 since the All-Star break. They've been one of the best teams. And if you look at their roster, it's a whole lot of mid, but it's like the right kind of mid. But then they have a superstar forward, a superstar defenseman, and a superstar goalie. It's such a weird combination of players, but it just works.
You know who has a career high in assists, and they had their career high in assists like a month or two ago?
Who?
Gustav Nyquist. He's having like a weirdly good season.
Crazy season right now. Like, let me take a look. Gustav Nyquist has 62 points in 70 games. And that's a guy that's been like a career 45 to 50 point guy.
That's pretty crazy.
Maybe. And the thing that gets me the most too, Saros isn't having that great of a year. He has a 278 GAA with a 908 save percentage, but their offense is just deep. Forsberg 77 points, Yossi has 71 points, Nyquist 62 points, O'Reilly 58 points, and then they just have like a bunch of 30-point goal scorers or point scorers. It's such a mid team, but they're just good all the way through. So Nashville for me is a bit of an underdog in the playoffs. Like I think this is the team that's like, when occasionally every few years there's the 7 or 8 seed that just goes absolutely nuts in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I could definitely see Nashville being that team.
Oh, I could
Especially, yeah, because they have enough superstar power to just turn up in the playoffs.
And they have a goalie that can get hot.
Yeah. Also, the thing that I didn't realize is Vegas is fighting for a playoff spot right now. Like they're 2 points out of a play. Like they're 2 points in a playoff spot right now. So
yeah, Vegas is actually interesting right now.
the Blues are 2 points behind them.
I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think they will make it. I
Same.
think. Yeah.
But the thing is, the Kings, they're also only 2 points behind the Kings, so they could easily finish third in the wild card as well, or third in the division. But yeah, it's basically just coming down to Vegas and LA for the final Pacific spot, and then LA, Vegas, St. Louis, and Minnesota all for the last wild card spot. And then the rest of the teams in the Western Conference I don't care about. But the Ducks, Blackhawks, and Sharks are already eliminated from playoff contention.
The Sens are not, by the way.
Neither are the Blue Jackets. I don't know what's happening.
Are the Sens actually not eliminated mathematically yet?
Bro. Nope. Sens, Blue Jackets, Canadians are all still technically playoff. They can still make it. I think I saw the wheel of like odds or something, and Ottawa was at like 0.08% chance to make the playoffs. And this guy posted like so you think there's a chance, kind of the meme or whatever.
Like 20 cents on it, and
That's a huge payout. That's at least plus like 100,000.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got on that. There's no real like the points race is really the points race is coming down to McKinnon and Kucherov. I think McDavid just randomly has 5-point games and he keeps getting closer and closer to those guys, which is kind of weird, but it is McDavid, so it is what it is. Zach Hyman is 2 goals away from 50. And he could hit that in Toronto.
Man, I can't believe he's going to hit 50 goals.
Did you think when he was playing in Toronto, you were like, this guy's a 50-goal scorer?
He's a scrub, man.
I mean, I loved him. I never thought he'd be a 50-goal scorer. So,
if he gets 50 goals tonight and no assists, his stats will be 50 goals and 19 assists.
Nice.
What a gross stat line that is. Do you guys think that there's this whole debate going on online about so I think a bunch of analysts, like I think LeBron and Dreger or Friedman, one of the two, has said that Hyman has been the last or best free agent signing of the last decade. And I was trying to think of some that I could like put in contention for that. Like Panarin for me has worked out really well for New York. But
yeah, you could argue that Hyman's the best like
for value
fit. Like if he signed that with the Blues, he could literally have like 18 and 18 right now.
100%.
And that's like
That goes into
totally
that, though.
possible. So it's like
How are you judging it, though?
it's the best fit of a free agent signing, not necessarily the like I would rather sign Panarin. Like I would rather Ottawa get Panarin than Hyman.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on how you look at it.
And that's the thing, because I think obviously for the Oilers, it is the best free agent signing of maybe all time for them, to be honest.
What do you mean they traded Gretzky?
Free agent signing, bro.
Oh, I thought you said trade or signing.
No, that's also wild that you just said that. But getting a 50 goal scorer at 5.5 mil, no matter how you like slice it, is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Panarin, I think at 11 mil, you were like expecting him to be a superstar, and he's just fulfilling that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but where Hyman, regardless of what you think about how he'd be outside of Edmonton, he's returning at like a 10 mil value for a guy you paid 5 mil for. And there's a lot of people clowning that signing for how much term and money he got, but I think it's worked out.
All right, guys. Next up, we've got the stat game brought to you by our very own Evan. He's got a stat for us today, which usually don't make sense, but let's see what he's got.
You're not the one to talk about this.
I just wanted to see your reactions when I said that.
For my stat game today, it also involves rosters. So sorry, Subi. But
mine's not
I'm
really.
gonna quiz each of you, and I'm going to give you each a different number, and then there's a bonus question at the end. Or I can do it at the beginning if it's a little bit easier.
Just do it however you've planned.
All right. So my question to you guys is, because we are fans of different teams, I want to see how much you pay attention to multiple of the teams. So, since I'm a Senators fan, my first question is going to be to Omar, and is going to be, can you name me 10 players who've played for both the Ottawa Senators and the Toronto Maple Leafs?
And like me and Sufi both do this?
Nope, just you.
Can we make this like 5 and not 10?
Nope, because it's adjusted via difficulty.
Okay.
So you don't have to name as many, Sufi.
Yeah,
Not enough.
That is 1.
Milan McCulloch,
That is 2.
Martin Gerber,
3.
Jason Spezza,
4.
Colin Greening.
5.
Oh, of course, Matt Murray.
6.
This is so funny. Neither of these guys knows how to fight.
Who else was in the... Oh, Connor Brown.
7.
Nikita Zaitsev.
8.
I need 2 more. Sorry, Clark MacArthur.
9.
Fine, I'm just going to go Carrick.
That is incorrect.
Who was
I'm not going to tell you
Ah,
some of them yet. We're going to move on to Sufi. Sufi, can you name 7 people that played for both the Ottawa Senators and the Washington Capitals?
No. Connor Brown.
That is 1.
Greg Anderson.
Yep.
I tap out. I genuinely, because I knew this
I also gave you a little bit higher because I do think you have more hockey knowledge than Omar by a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't have the capacity to answer questions. That's the problem. My knowledge is there, it just doesn't exist when I need it to exist. This is such a no, that was Toronto. I have so many Toronto and Washington guys. I just don't have the other ones.
Like, I think there's 8 you could get. Maybe 9.
I think there's 2 I could get. That's Anderson and Brown.
I don't even think I have it.
Gonchar.
Yep. That's not one of the ones I thought you were going to get, but yes.
I've used them so many
Well,
times.
I thought you, like, not one of the immediate ones. Like, that was one of the ones I thought you could, but you're just going to go through every player that's ever played.
I'm just thinking out loud here, man. It was a podcast.
I can't. I can't believe I forgot Cody Cece.
Yeah.
That was the obvious one I was thinking of, by the way. Niskanen, no. Weidman, no. Did Brooks Lake play for Ottawa? Brooks Lake. Did he play for Ottawa?
That is one of them.
No way. That was such. I knew he played for Toronto. I didn't know he played for Ottawa. Now, there's two of the players I said play for all three of our teams. So how many? Is there three more left?
I forgot about Brooks Light in Toronto, actually.
I forgot Brooks Lake was in Ottawa, bro. That was just a complete shot in the dark. That wasn't even the one that I was going to. Niskanen, Orpik, Orlov. Who the hell is on it? Oh, Chiasson.
Yeah.
There we go. 5.
You only need 2 more.
Did Peter Bondra play for Ottawa? I'm gonna take a strike here because I genuinely just need a otherwise we'll be here forever. I'm gonna say Bondra.
That is correct.
Yeah.
What? When the
You
hell did he
need
play for
1
Ottawa?
more.
When did he play for Ottawa?
Early years, early 2000s.
Did Wyden play for Ottawa?
No.
He played in the All-Star game in Ottawa. Remember that.
Whoa.
I have 2 more strikes and I need 1 more player. Larry Murphy.
No.
1 more strike.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get this last one. This is tough. I don't know. Jason Chimera.
Is incorrect. So you guys kind of ruined my bonus question. I was gonna say Connor Brown, and then a goalie that none of you are gonna get named Don Beaupre.
Name I didn't know he
Played for both teams. Who's the third player?
Anderson. No.
But no, for all 3 of our teams. But yeah, you guys got Brooks Lake and then talked about it. So I will tell you some of the ones you missed. Omar, you missed Michael Amadio, Casey Bailey, Jamie Baker, Brendan Bell, Bill Berg, Laurie Boschman, Cody Cece, Tyler Ennis, Nick Foligno, Alex Galchenyuk, Per Gustafson, Ron Hainsey, Ken Hammond, Dave Hannon, Mike Kostka, Eric Lacroix, Maxime Lajoie, Brad Marsh, Dave McLewan, Victor Mete, Luke Richardson, Scott Sabray, Nick Shore, Jason Smith, Victor Stolberg, Tom Barrasso, Don Beaupre, Mark LaForest, Curtis McElhenney, and Damian Rhodes.
Yeah, see, the other ones, whatever. I knew I was forgetting some defensemen, and that's Cody Cece and Ron Hainsey. I knew I was forgetting a couple of defensemen.
Well, Foligno, Ennis, and Galchenyuk.
Foligno
And
is
obviously
Foligno
Nick Foligno, yeah. Nick Foligno and Tyler Ennis as well, yeah.
Sufi, you're going to scream at one of these. You missed Paul Carey, Dennis Chassé, Tom Chorsky, Zdeno Chara.
Oh, yeah!
Joe Corvo, Pat Elenek, Colin Forbes, John Gruden, Joe Juno, Joel Kwetsky, Steve Leach, Grant Ledard, Curtis Lesenishin, his son's in the NHL, Kevin Miller, Brad Norton, Lawrence Nicolot, Kent Painter, I don't know, Brian Potier, Zach Sanford, Brad Shaw, Jim Thompson, Ivan Chinnick, and then Don Beaupre and Craig Billington.
I mean, yeah, it was literally 8 that I could get because Sanford and Gonchar and Sanford and Chara.
Yeah.
Chara just doesn't equate in my brain that he even played for the Caps. It was so short. Oh, well, game's a game. So I think we're ending the episode here because I don't want to tell Omar the roster game because he's so excited. It's actually not that crazy. Essentially, we're going to go back and forth like we usually do. I'm only giving you 2 strikes each. And I'm going to say something. You got to respond with something. If you get that response wrong, yeah. So I'm going to say the team. You got to give me their captain. And if you get that strike, it goes to the other person. and then I'm just gonna go through the teams. And if they don't have a captain, current. And if they don't have a captain, you gotta pick one. You just gotta get one of the assistants. But if they don't have a captain, I will say that this team doesn't have a captain, so give me one of the assistants. Okay? But you have to let me say the team first. So we're gonna start with Dummer. Okay. Anaheim Ducks. They don't have a captain. Give me one of their assistants.
Zegras.
Strike.
Cam Fowler.
Yep. Omer, Arizona doesn't have a captain. Give me one of their assistants.
Why does he get it again?
No, it should go to Evan first, right?
I'm just saying no, it's just if you get it wrong, then it goes back to. It's just you're going back and forth.
Okay, all right. They don't have a captain, you said?
They don't have a captain.
Who is their assistant? Ooh, I don't know who their assistants are.
That's the game.
Not gonna guess.
Bro, don't think too hard.
Fine, Clayton Keller.
There you go.
What a stupid. I hate this host.
Boston.
Brad Marchand.
Omer, Calgary.
Michael Backlund. Michael Backlund.
Evan, Hurricanes.
Jordan Stahl.
I'm concerned as to what Omer was going to say for this, but Chicago Blackhawks, they don't have a captain.
I mean, I don't think Bedard has an A. I can't remember. Bedard?
Seth Jones.
There you go. The other two were Nick Foligno and Connor Murphy. Why would they give a rookie an assistant, bro?
That's what I was wondering, but I couldn't think of. I didn't realize that. Seth
On your last strike now of like a million. This is not meant to be this hard. That's why I'm going through all the teams. Columbus Blue Jackets. Omer, I guess. They have a captain.
Goodrow.
Omer's out.
Is Goodrow
Boone
captain?
Jenner.
Boone Jenner's captain.
Just go through all of them with me.
Yeah, no, Omer's done now. I gave him like 14 strikes. Dallas Stars.
Jamie Benn.
Detroit Red Wings.
Larkin.
Oilers.
McDavid.
Panthers.
Barkov.
Kings.
Kopitar.
Wild.
Spurgeon.
Canadians.
Suzuki.
Preds.
Yossi.
Devils.
Isher.
Islanders.
Lee.
Rangers.
Trouba.
Ottawa.
Big Chuck.
Flyers.
Couturier.
Pens.
Crosby.
Sharks.
Couture.
Seattle. Got to give me an assistant. The team of second liners.
McCann. Eberle.
Yep.
No, I was between the two.
The other three are Yanni Gord, Adam Larson, Jaden Schwartz. St. Louis Blues. Tampa.
Stamkos.
Leafs.
Tavares.
Canucks.
Hughes.
Golden Knights.
Stone.
Washington.
Ovechkin.
Last one. Winnipeg Jets.
Adam Lowry.
No. You gave me Columbus and Arizona and Anaheim. Like, what do you?
I could have gotten those.
Oh yeah, but I could have got it. But like, I don't know who. I don't follow those teams.
Arizona. You literally just go, okay, who's the best player? Keller.
Yeah, okay, fine. I got to Arizona eventually, but you gave me like I'm never gonna get to Columbus. My mind just went to Goodrow. Fine, but like
the ones with captains were the ones that are like, okay, should be easy.
No, like
Boone Jenner was captain before Goodrow even got there.
Yeah, I know, but like my mind doesn't go to Columbus when who's like who's like I don't think about Columbus.
If it was easy, it wouldn't have been a game. He got hard ones.
No, why you
this guy just got Adam Lowry.
You gave me all the tough ones in the beginning, and Evan and
I gave you Anaheim,
Columbus, you gave me Arizona, and you gave me Anaheim at the beginning.
Bro, you're going back and forth. It's it's an alphabetical list. What are you going to do?
And then right after that, it's like, oh, Dallas, Boston.
Okay,
yeah,
think of it this way. If I got Anaheim first, you still would have had Arizona.
You still would have had Arizona. You still would have Columbus.
Why are you giving those? Why are you giving those first?
You listen to what we're saying. What?
No.
Why am I giving? I'm going alphabetical order. You want me to just say it by what I think is gonna be easiest?
Yes. You start easier and you go hard later.
Homer, I don't know how your brain works. To me, Arizona is easy as hell.
Omar wanted some foreplay.
Actually, Anaheim, Zegras.
Yeah, I can't name you one. I can't name you even one assistant on Anaheim. I can't name you one.
You don't think that a guy that's been there since like 2010 is going to be an assistant captain? Cam Fowler?
Yeah, sure, but like my mind doesn't go to him. My mind goes to like who's the big
Homer,
flashy
that's
name.
why it's a game.
Yeah,
You're supposed to think.
whatever.
Either way, you're saying although you would have got through the best teams, but then I would have gotten to like Arizona or Anaheim or Chicago, and you would have been out anyway. You said Bedard for Chicago. Like, come on.
I know I knew he was wrong, but like
I gave you so many chances.
no, I just,
Oh, by the way, I completely skipped over a team. Omer Redemption. Okay, Omer.
Colorado.
Oh, I forgot two teams.
What?
okay, well yes,
Okay.
McKinnon, and then what's the other team then?
No, it's Landeskog.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, lad.
Omer,
That's team.
name me the most recent captain of the Anaheim Ducks.
Oh, before Fowler, or before Fowler,
They don't have a captain. So who was the last captain?
Ryan Getzlav.
Thank you. Now I know you watch hockey at least. Okay, who was the most recent captain of the Arizona Coyotes?
Shane
It's a little
Doan.
tougher. No, after that. Defenseman.
Oh, Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
There you go. Most recent captain of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Jonathan Taves.
Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in to episode 60 of the Unfortunate Diehards podcast. We appreciate all of your support. Leave a like if you'd like. We'd appreciate it.
Oh, we'll love if you guys come back. Next week is Omer Stack game, so it's sure to be entertaining.
Yeah, can't wait for it to be like
so
about
excited.
soccer.
I'm so excited. How many guys did Ovechkin body check in the Putin soccer game?
Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, SiriusXM. Follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Twitter at The Unfortunate Diehards. And of course, watch us on YouTube. And we'll see you next time.
Merci tout le monde.